Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, the good old people of the tube. You join me and Joe on mini adventures in a very, very cold, rainy, on a very cold, wet, rainy day. Joe's behind the camera.
Hello.
She said she wasn't going to make any noise, but she lied. She makes noise! Anyway, question one today. She sat there vaping thinking she's all cool.
I am cool.
She's not.
I'm very cool.
This guy's cool. But anyway. Question one today, everybody. Yes, I'd like to enter the world of modding guitars. How hard would it be to change the body of my Strat for a Relic Fiesta Red body? Not very hard at all. Strats are very easily moddable. That's not even a word, but I just made it. In the English dictionary, that's what's going to be there now, moddable. But it is really easy to change out necks and bodies on Strats. I mean, that was the Leo Fender's original idea, is when your neck wore out, you just buy a new one and bolt it on and... well, hey! But yeah, changing the body is easy, but you've got to make sure your neck will fit to the body, the body cavity where the neck sits. If not, you're gonna run into all sorts of problems with the neck not sitting right. It can move and all sorts of stuff you don't want to have to deal with. So I would measure your neck, and if you're going for the Relic Fiesta Red body, make sure your neck will fit flush with the neck socket, so to say, on the thing, and also the screw holes match up as well. That's kind of important. With the screw holes in the body match up with the screw holes in the neck. Otherwise, you're gonna, like I say, you're gonna run into so many issues. Another option would be to get the existing body you have. Joe's laughing at me. I don't know why. The body you've got on your guitar at this point in time, the other option would be to get that stripped and refinished, Fiesta Red, and then relic'd. That might be a bit more expensive, I'm not sure. But anyway, I hope I answered your question on that one. Like I say, it is easy to do, but just make sure your neck is an exact match to the body you're buying. Don't kind of like just buy it blindly. Make sure you get all the specifications right. Otherwise, you're going to run into a lot of trouble. You also asked, I'd also like to put some peizo pickups in it and do it for acoustic stuff. Have you ever tried something like this? I've never tried doing modding a guitar with peizo pickups. I have tried a few guitars with them, and it's very cool, but I've never tried it, so I can't really honestly comment whether, how easy or hard it is, I'm afraid. So I haven't done that. But it is a really cool mod to do, so if you do it, yeah, go for it. Why not? It's good fun. So anyway, I hope that's a question. Forward to the next location and the next question.
Right, question two, David.
Question
yeah.
two. This is question two.
Would you ever do a video on the outro solo to Paradise City?
Would I ever do it? Probably not. I seem to remember reading in Slash's autobiography that the outro solo to Paradise City, the crazy shred, super fast one, was just him improvising and going a bit mad. And if you kind of watch him live, he changes it anyway. There's a couple of different runs that Slash does. What have we just run into?
I'll take number one.
I just had to reverse Joe's car like 16 miles. Oh, we just have to overtake a tractor now. It's all going on! It's all going on, everybody. Okay, so recap of the question is, would I ever do a tutorial on the outro solo to Paradise City? Most probably not, just like I say, because I seem to remember hearing somewhere Slash just improvised it. So, I might, I don't know. Not at this point in time, but maybe in the future. Maybe in the future. Yes, there was another part of this question, wasn't there, Joe?
That there was, Mr. Simpson.
Ha!
Do you ever worry that your dedication to making videos on John Frusciante might somehow overshadow your own playing / abilities, and you'll just become the JF man? The John Frusciante man.
Just to interrupt this whole video. What's going on today? Seriously, this is weird. I just saw what I thought were two workmen in a field. It's just two scarecrows dressed up as workmen. I was like, what's going on? Anyway, okay, so apart from this video being super weird already, and we're only on question two, Do I think of it as just being... It doesn't bother me, really, because I'm such a John fanatic that I don't mind it at all. And in all fairness, John is the guitarist I've studied the most over the years, so no, it doesn't really worry me, to be fair. I'm quite happy to be... In all fairness, I'm quite happy to be called the John Frusciante guy. I would consider that an honour, to be honest with you. I really would, because John's just like next to people like Jimi Hendrix and Roy Gallagher, he's definitely one of my, you know, if not my biggest guitar hero. So no, I don't think it's gonna. I don't feel it kind of overshadows my playing. I mean, if it wasn't for John Frusciante, I wouldn't play the way I play. So I don't really feel that's, no, it doesn't really worry me at all, really. So, but anyway, I hope that's answered your question anyway. Like, Paradise City, maybe in the future, does John Frusciante being called the John Frusciante guy worry me? Not really, no, I'm quite happy about that. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question. Moving on to question 3 now, yes. Okay, so question 3 today is, my band have been attempting to play Otherside by the Red Hot Chili Peppers live with 2 guitarists, but despite playing what seems to be the right notes, the sound of the original track is not there. Any advice on this particular song? Well, my first advice for Otherside is you've got to keep Otherside simple. You know, it's a simple song from the get-go. The order's straightforward, and you've got to be kind of sparse in what you do. I mean, John's playing during Californication isn't... there's nothing really complex in it. It's very, very simple and straightforward, and that's why it's so awesome. It's very withdrawn. But if you've got 2 guitarists, what I would recommend is, because you both don't want to be doing this. Yeah, you both don't want to be playing the same riff. You both want to be doing something different. So what I'd recommend is one guitarist does the chords, one guitarist does the riff. So the chords are A minor, F major, C major, and G major. So have one guitarist doing those chords, like, so like that, and then the other guitarist doing the riff. And also I would recommend that the guitarist doing the chords is on the neck pickup. Either if it's humbucker or cymbal chord, I would recommend a neck pickup for the chords. Just kind of give it like a bit more of a kind of a rounder sound, a bit more of a full sound. And the person doing the riff would be on the bridge pickup or middle pickup, or if it's a Les Paul kind of both guitar, both pickups on. If it's a Strat, middle pickup. If it's Telecaster, both pickups on. Because then you get this instead. You get instead of kind of like you're just both playing the same thing. Sorry about that, everyone. So, yeah, that's what I would recommend for the other side. And also the next bit, the, you know, have one guitarist doing that, and the other one going... So, which would just be an A power chord and an E power chord. So, and then obviously get your... And then you both want to be doing kind of like, you know, the same chords there. So, that's what I'd recommend if you've got 2 guitarists, if you're kind of struggling. Say one guitarist do the chords, one guitarist do the riffs, and then kind of like, you know, I don't know, you could always do like a harmonised guitar solo, I suppose. But, and on the outro of Otherside, you want to be kind of both in full out distortion, really. You both want to be kind of flat out, you know, doing power chords. Well, actually, John doesn't do power chords. At the end of Otherside, John doesn't actually kind of go... He actually just plays the 4th interval, so he just plays this. just that. So it's basically 7th fret on the A and the D, 3rd fret A and D, 5th fret on the D and the G, and then 5th fret on the A and the D. And I say when you have full distortion, it sounds mega. So that's what I would recommend for Otherside. Like I say, there's one guy doing rhythm on the neck pickup, and another guy doing kind of like the riffs on either both pickups on, or middle pickup, or bridge. I'd say bridge would be better. It cuts through better. John does use both on his Gretsch when he played it on his Strat. When I saw him play live at Don Valley, he did Otherside on his Strat. He didn't play his White Falcon, but yeah, I would recommend that kind of thing. And then also kind of like for the guitar solo, and the middle bit as well, you mean you could both do the harmonic bit. Because I think that would sound quite cool doubled. Two guitarists, two different kind of sounds. You'd both want to be on bridge pickup though for the outro. For the big chords, you want to be both on the bridge pickup for... You know, the big massive outro. I never, it always bugged me on the Californication era where John would stay in clean. He would kind of like do a really cool solo. And he'd come out into clean. It was never had the impact, but it's Slaying Castle where he's... sounds heavenly. So yeah, anyway, I hope that's answered your question. Anyway, that's what I'd recommend for Otherside. You both don't want to be kind of doing the same thing really until the end, until the kind of like the big finale of the song. So that's what I'd recommend for that. And I say just make sure, like, you know, both guitars, you know, are compatible, because you know, you can sometimes get guitars that just kind of like clash with each other. So just make sure, like, you know, if oh, and sound. The sound, maybe sound more than the guitars. Make sure the sound is kind of like, you know, working together. If it's not working together, kind of tweak and just try and get them to kind of sit nicely together, because it can get a bit iffy sometimes. Anyway, I hope that's answered your question. Anyway, I'm going to move over to question 4 now. Hi. Back on the outside now. It says keep out. That won't stop me, I tells you. No, it will. Anyway. This is the weirdest Q&A ever. Question 4. I know you went like that. Question 4, everybody. It seems to me that 99% of players know theory. There are a handful, though, that say they don't, like Dave Navarro. What do you think to this? Yeah, I get this. Personally, I think people like Dave Navarro, they have to know at least a little bit of theory. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to play how they play and what they play. They wouldn't know about key. They wouldn't know how to solo in key. So I think Dave Navarro is just saying it because he lives that kind of like, you know, hey man, I'm a rock star. I'm not a big Dave Navarro fan, so I'm not going to rip into him too much. But I understand why he would say that, because it kind of goes along with his image. He's always that kind of like, you know, I'm cool, that hurt. But yeah, I mean, I reckon a lot of guitarists know more theory than they think they do, even if they don't know they know it, if that makes any sense. That's really complex and weird to say. But like people like Peter Green and Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix, I don't think necessarily they would know the ins and outs of what they played. They would just know it worked. Maybe they wouldn't even class it as theory. I mean, Jimmy would kind of refer to things in colours and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's a bit of a difficult question to answer, but I reckon every guitarist knows, every kind of like, you know, professional guitarist knows quite a bit of theory. Even if they say they don't, they do. I think it's just, I don't know, I think sometimes it's cool. Like, I think some people think it's cool just to kind of like say, I don't know any theory, man, I just do this and the other. It's like, I only know, from my perspective, I only know the theory I need to know. I know my 5 pistons of a pentatonic scale, and I know how to find my key in relative major and minor, and some other bits and pieces, but I don't know how to explain modes. I don't know anything other than that. I didn't go any deeper than that because I didn't need to, because, well, what I would say with theory is you learn what you want to learn and forget the rest. Just learn what will get you to where you want to be, and you know. But anybody who says, I don't know theory, but they can play really well, is lying, because they have to know at least the pentatonic scales and how to find the key and relative major and minor. So that's my opinion on that. But Dave Navarro, I think he's just doing it just to show off. But anyway, the Blair Witch! Okie dokie, so question 5 today is, do you ever go onto the Marshall forum? I've read a lot of posts on there and they don't believe you're getting these tones from a Marshall MG using the amp settings you claim. Well, I promise I am, but I kind of understand that. I can understand that it seems weird because of where I set up amps, especially the CR120 and the Marshall. Especially on the overdrive channel, not really using the EQ, like middle, treble and contour all on 0, and I tend to run the bass on the MGs somewhere between 2 and 5 depending. It's mainly kind of normally on 2 or all the way off. If it's my blues faker, the bass, middle, treble and contour are all the way down. And I understand that seems a bit weird because a lot of people message me saying I tried your settings and it just sounded muddy and dark, and you know, why does yours sound the way it is? I honestly don't know why. It's just what sounds right to me. I can't really explain can't explain it really any other way other than that. Really, it is literally just what sounds right to me. I've experimented a lot with a lot of different amplifiers trying to find that sound I've got in my head and what sound makes me feel right. And it was always with the EQ turned all the way down to like the darkest setting. I don't know if it's to do with my guitars, these things, the leads I use, or speakers, or pedals, or cables, or if I'm going straight in, is it, you know, what is it? I really don't know. I really don't know. I can understand it's a bit weird, but I promised you I'm gonna show you towards the end of this question. I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. I'm not using anything else. The amps are not modded. You're more than welcome to come around and inspect them to your heart's content to find a mod. You will not find one. Like I say, the only thing that's modded is the box. But yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, he does seem a bit weird. You also asked if my MGs are modded. No, they're not modded. No, I don't need to mod the MG. It's a perfect amp to me. I don't need to do anything to them. I say the only mod that I do is get my friend Andy to put the chassis into these Plexi Super Lead boxes because I love the look of the Plexi. I think it's the ultimate looking amp. It's the most iconic amp to me anyway. I just love the look of Plexis. They're just, well, look. I mean, heavenly. I absolutely adore the look of the Plexi. So that's the only mod I really do. But electrically, no, I don't mod it at all. You also asked, what version of the Marshall MG HDFX do I use? Is it the first generation or the second generation? First generation has the Chrome. It's a new substance. Chrome fan grille, and the second generation has the slots cut in the chassis. I prefer the Chrome one myself, although I do. My Blues Faker is a second generation one with the slots. They don't really sound any different. First generation, second generation. The only difference is like you said in your email, is the first generation with the fan. When you first turn it on, it does sound like a dying cow, like people say. It goes, you turn it on, it goes like that for about a minute. But if you just wait for that to go away, the fan eventually just kicks in properly. It's just a defect, but it's not a major issue. It doesn't affect the amp in any way. Just as long as I normally just kind of wait for that fan to just shut up before I start playing. But yeah, it can be a bit of a weird noise. It does sound like a dying cow. That is definitely the best analogy of that noise. But I do prefer the Chrome fan grill ones to the slot ones. But in all fairness, there's not much in them sound wise. To be fair, there really isn't. They both generations sound amazing, but I prefer the Chrome grilled ones. And yeah, I don't know. But like I say, you know, I hoard MGs. I bought another one on Monday. I'm just a hoarder for the MG. I would hoard these CR120s as well if they were cheaper, but they're not, and I can't quite afford another one right now. But yeah, so yeah, that's that. I prefer the first generation, but I do have the second generation as well. And you also asked what camera do I use and how loud is it when I do vids. When I do vids, it's about 80 dB. It's not, well, 75 to 80 dB depending on what sound I've got. It's not deafeningly loud at all. It's a little bit quieter than shouting. It's almost kind of 80 dB is like a violin, if that makes any sense. It's like the decibel of a violin. So it's not horrendously loud, but it's not super quiet either. But and the camera I use is a Panasonic Lumix camera. I'll show you it one day. But it's just a it's just an awesome camera. I love it to bits, and it's actually Joe's. It's not mine. It's on like long-term loan. It's done every video I've ever done on this channel. It's done every video, and I love it to bits. So let me quickly just show you this thing of people saying they don't believe I'm using the EQ I'm using, and what I'll do is I'll basically show you the EQ on the amp, and then without cutting, I'll move the camera back, and I'll just put the camera back on the tripod, and I'll play it, and I'll hopefully it'll come across. Okay, so sorry it's a little bit out of focus, but hopefully you can kind of see. So the settings on the clean channel are gain all the way up on 10, bass is at 2, trebles at 3, middles at 3, trebles at 1. Then moving on to the OD channel, so I'm really sorry about the out of focusness. Gain is on 10, bass is on 2, middle treble and contour on 0, and volume is on 10. And I've got a bit of delay on it. It's very kind of short slapback and a little bit of reverb, and the master volume is just above, well, just below 2. So I'm going to move the camera back now. On H, the FDD switch is in. So, and the FDD switch is always in. So let's put the camera back on the tripod, get it repositioned here. There we go. Okay, so that's the settings. And you're going to hear that delay. It's like a slapback. Let's turn it up a smidge. But sometimes I will turn the bass all the way down on the clean channel as well. That's the clean channel, overdrive 1. Terrible sloppy playing. And then you get overdrive 2. So that's it. And also let me show you this quick, if I can get it out from one of them. I'm not using any pedals, that's all the amp, I promise. And there's nothing in the effects loop, there is nothing anywhere else. That is just the settings I have, bog standard, plugged straight into my MG. I've got a different setting for my pedal board, and like I do with the CL20, I run my pedal board through the overdrive channel on OD1. But yeah, it's just the amp. Sounds wicked! Right, fucking straight! And I've cut my finger. That string cut my finger. But anyway, broke my high E string, and it's gone. There it is. And it'll be on eBay later on. No, well, I'm joking. It'll be in the bin. Anyway, I hope that's answered your question. Anyway, question 5. And I totally understand that people find it a bit weird how I set my amps. I get that totally. But it's just what works for me. I can't explain why it works for me. It literally just does. It's just, yeah, that sound of the EQ that low, is what I hear, so to say. So anyway, but anyway, I do hope that's answered your question anyway, and going to move on to final question today. Question 6 now. Where are we going to be now? Around the old people, Dave.
Trying to jam my car. Oh! Question 6. Any tips or exercises on how to avoid hitting wrong notes or open strings?
I'm fine, by the way. Joe didn't do one thing to help me from a Blair Witch Project. Blair Witch Project, the film. The Blair Witch. Anyway, yeah, I'm fine, Joe. Thanks so much for that. Joe just laughed. Anyway, what was the question again?
Any tips or exercises on how to avoid hitting wrong notes or open strings?
How to not? Well, wrong notes. I mean, that's going to happen regardless. I mean, you're always going to make mistakes. There's nothing you can do about that. You're always going to hit a wrong note at some point or another. That's just the way it is. Mistakes happen, and that's just, you know, that's just the way it is, sadly. Strings though, that's just literally just a repetition of working on your right hand more than anything else. What I would say is kind of like try and alternate pick up and down strings. So kind of like go down and then up on the E string, and then down and then up on the A string, and then down and up on the D, and so on and so forth. Try that as like an exercise. So yeah, down and up on the A, down up on it down up on the in the E, down up on the A, and just kind of like keep going up and down. So your hand kind of gets used to where the strings are. It learns where the strings are. But in all fairness, it can add quite a lot to sound when you hit a wrong string. If you kind of like, for instance, if you're trying to like play, say, a note on the G string and you hit the D string by accident, but then you kind of follow through on that and then kind of like, you know, hit onto that note on the G string, you can kind of get this really cool thing. And quite a lot of players do that. I mean, Gary Moore, before he would hit really big bends, would actually hit all the open strings and then really stab into the actual note you wanted to hit. So, but yeah, try that as an exercise. Try kind of alternate picking on different strings and going up and down, and that way your hand will learn the string spacing and where the strings are. It's just repetition. It's just repetition and muscle memory. Like a lot of, well, like everything technical on the guitar, it's all repetition. It's all got to be done over and over and over again, hours and hours and hours of it. Hitting wrong notes, there's not much you can do about that. Again, that just comes down to practice, but you will always hit at least one wrong note at some point. There's not much you can do about it. Mistakes happen. We're humans. We're not robots. It's never going to be perfect. But again, to hit less wrong notes, it's just practice. It's just all it is. Yes, viewer parts of great. I hope that answers that bit anyway. Yeah, I hope that answered that. Is there another bit on the question? Yeah.
Any tips on Hendrix chords?
Tips on Hendrix chords. The biggest tip I can give on Hendrix chords is the thumb. Your thumb has to be over the top. That's the biggest thing with anything Jimi Hendrix chord, John Frusciante chord related, or even John Mayer chord related. You have to have your thumb over the top doing the bass notes. It's just a need, really, because with the thumb behind the neck, your fingers just aren't free. I mean, you can kind of see, like, if that's the kind of position, they're just not free, whereas if like that, they're very kind of free to go. So I would work on trying to get your thumb over the top, and you mentioned you have quite small hands, and I understand that might be quite difficult, but you only need to get your thumb over just enough to fret the note. It doesn't have to be kind of like, you know, like Jimi Hendrix, where it literally drowned the whole guitar neck. It just has to be just enough to get over the top. But that is the biggest tip, really. It really is the biggest tip I can give on anything Jimi Hendrix, because it just frees up these fingers to do what Jimmy would do, and it gives you the dexterity and the ability to get these to do, you know, things that when your thumb's behind, it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So that's what I would say is just work really hard on trying to get your thumb over the top. I mean, and if you've got small hands, I understand that it's really, really difficult, and I understand it's kind of like easier said than done. But if you can just get your thumb over just enough, just to clamp that lower E string down, just enough, then you know it'll open a lot of doors on the Hendrix chord front. I hope I answered that part of your question. Last part of the question, Joe, today.
What's your opinion on Eddie Hazel?
My opinion on Eddie Hazel. Never heard of him, but I definitely heard of Eddie Hazel. Eddie Hazel is one of those criminally underrated guitarists. And you only have to listen to Maggot Brain to understand why he's criminally underrated. He's just awesome. And he had a proper Hendrix-inspired style that was still his own. You know, he took a lot from Jimmy, but he still was him at the end of it. It's really, really cool. I love Eddie Hazel. I think his guitar playing is amazing, and I think he gets overlooked far too much, in my opinion. But yeah, I hope that's answered your question. I hope that's answered all your questions today. A very strange Q&A. I think you'll agree on that one. Is it strange, Joe?
Hell yes.
Everything seems to be going a bit weird today. I got attacked by the Blair Witch. Joe didn't care. But, you know, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again on Friday for another video. I haven't quite decided what that's going to be yet, but all will be revealed on Friday. Yeah, hope you have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Goodbye now. Say goodbye, Joe.
See you later.
That's on candid camera.